What's going on, beautiful people? It is I, your flying locomotive and faster than a speeding bullet, SuperCliff, coming at you live with a brand new video. And for today's scrumptious video, we are continuing with DC's Dark Crisis, or should I say, Dark Crisis on Infinite Worlds. Ooh, title change. Issue number 4. But before we get weird with DC's mega blockbuster event, if you are new to the channel, then smash that like and subscribe button. That way you guys never miss out on anything that's happening on this lovely and majestic channel. And because we've managed to cross over 1,000 subs, let's raise the bar as we try to get 200 more subs before the end of 2022. Thus, without further ado, let's get insane with Dark Crisis. Our story picks up after Hal Jordan's confrontation with Pariah, which ended up with Hal invading Jon Stewart's Paradise World in an attempt to bring back Justice League. However, the stoic Green Lantern finds himself in an unknown Emerald City without his power ring. And that's where Hal encounters the Green Lanterns, Kyle Rayner, Jason Todd, and Natasha Irons, who mistake him for Parallax because it's the 90s and he can never let that down. Thus, they immediately restrain Hal with their energy constructs of unbreakable chains, for Hal is not welcome in Sector Jon Stewart. Now, if Hal, knowing that this Kyle is merely a construct of this world's illusion, he's pretty confident that he can, take them on. But that's when Natasha hits him with an energy construct of a giant sledgehammer, which obviously knocks him down. And just as Jason's about to go boom headshot on Hal's face, that's where we see the arrival of Barry Allen, who's able to save his friend just in the nick of time. Now, with the two heroes reunited, Hal tries to fill Barry in on what's happening and, the fact that Pariah is behind the apparent death and entrapment of the Justice League. But Barry has already figured it all out because once he broke free from Pariah's illusion over in the Flash book, Barry raced from one paradise world to another in order to study them, finding out that the Justice League of Earth Zero have always been the nexus of the multiverse. And that's why Pariah trapped them in the prisons, all in an effort so he can harness their energy to power something explosive. Now, although Barry knows who can help them investigate the endgame of Pariah's plans, he needs Hal's help to, snap them both out of Pariah's illusion, which is why they need to travel to their paradise world as soon as possible. And with that, Barry carries Hal and races for the world's barrier. Picking up on Earth Zero at the Hall of Justice, Mr. Terrific explains that for years, they've tried to understand the order of the multiverse and the level of manipulation it has undergone by outside forces. And although they saw it, restored yet again after the defeat of the Batman Who Laughs and Perpetua during Dark Knight's death metal, it was still unknown how much damage was done to space and time. However, after the death of the Justice League, they've recorded dark energy on the edge of the multiverse that pulses and surges in a pattern that they haven't been able to identify. And so Mr. Terrific thinks that it's somehow connected to Deathstroke's attacks, but Donna Troy remarks that Slade and his army haven't been seen in the last 24 hours because, as Wildcat points out, with the Justice Society of America now fighting on the front lines alongside Jon Kent's Justice League and everyone else who's a superhero, Deathstroke knows that he's on the ropes. But Jonathan warns that, we shouldn't underestimate Slade Wilson, to which Cyborg agrees, but who asked him anyways, because fuck Cyborg, he sucks.
Shut up!
Anyways, now John also lets them know that Deathstroke is only the start of their worries because although Black Adam told them that before their death, the Justice League managed to stop Pariah's forces, Cyborg's reading tells him that the Dark Army could be on their way to Earth Zero. Mr. Terrific remarks that the smart thing to do right now is to hope for the best and plan for the worst. Meanwhile, Alan Scott pays a visit to Nightwing, who hasn't left Garfield's bedside since he was admitted to the hospital. And feeling down on himself, thinking that, he failed his best friend, Alan offers his sympathy after Mr. Terrific and Dr. Midnight diagnosed that Beast Boy was struggling to recover. But Dick knows that the trauma from Deathstroke's attack on Titan's Tower did far more damage to Beast Boy's head than Slade's gunshot, and the reason why Garfield is not waking up is that subconsciously he believes that he's already dead, which is pretty messed up. And at that moment, Alan tells him about a time before Dick was born, when he saw one of the performances of Dick's parents, the Flying Graysons, remembering how flawlessly amazing they were, catching everyone's eyes, even in a rough town like Gotham, where it's never easy to stand out, exactly like Dick does now, letting Nightwing know that, feeling sorry for yourself won't help you or Beast Boy. And if we don't do anything now, Garfield might never have a world to wake up to. So we gotta keep fighting, bro. But Dick tells Alan that, he should take charge himself and use his ring to lead the heroes out of the darkness by taking his pick to either creating a new Justice League or using the Justice Society to save the multiverse. But Alan lets him know that these are just titles and that they don't really matter in the end. Being a part of the Justice League or the Justice Society, they're not requirements in order to become a hero, remarking that Superman's son has truly stepped up and gathered a fine group of heroes. But although they all want to show that, they can carry on the legacy of those who had fallen prior, they need the help of the one who did it first, making it clear to Dick that he is the one. He is the chosen one who needs to step up. But with Nightwing mentioning that when Deathstroke beat him, his goal was to break the hero's spirits and toy with the Titans and his emotion. So it's going to take a lot more than smiles and optimism to beat him this time. To which Alan, suspects that he doesn't think this is a grudge that Slade is trying to hold against them, because there seems to be something darker that's at play. Elsewhere at the Hall of Doom, Gorilla Grodd asks Black Adam why the Legion of Doom should even trust him, questioning on how they're supposed to know that he's not working with the punk wannabe Justice League. But Black Adam once again makes it clear that the League is dead, and Grodd remarks that maybe Adam should just have died with them, which agitates the Man in Black, but Lex Luthor calms the situation down by letting everyone know that Black Adam has assured him that his time amongst the Justice League was just a minor flirtation, so there's no reason to distrust him, at least for now, and that he should be allowed to speak. With that, Black Adam reminds everyone of the time when they worked together to fight the crime syndicate, when the Justice League was nowhere to be found, remarking that the current circumstances call for those same desperate measures because the heroes left behind in the wake of death of the Justice League are just too concerned with hope, while Deathstroke and his army want death and destruction on a global consensus, which is the reason why Black Adam has deemed the Legion of Doom to be their last hope. Lex, however, reveals that while Slade is a problem, they've got bigger concerns because during his time with the Totality, Lex observed the multiverse's truths and lies, finding out the idea of the Omniverse was false, and that it created an imbalance in their multiverse, which is what Lex believes that Pariah has been manipulating this entire time. But that's when Grodd interrupts him and proposes that they should do nothing and allow Deathstroke to finish his mission of killing all the heroes. And while that happens, he'll be vulnerable enough for attack from the Legion of Doom. But that's when King Deathstroke and his secret society blow their way into the Hall of Doom, catching the Legion of Doom off guard, as Slade mocks Black Adam for thinking that Deathstroke wouldn't foresee this alliance, proclaiming that the darkness knows all. However, at that moment, Black Adam notices the black chains around Deathstroke and his army, which he remembers seeing around the Dark Army back in, the death of the Justice League. And so he realizes that Slade is a man who is possessed. And with that, the Legion of Doom refuses Deathstroke's offer, and an all-out battle breaks out. Picking up on Multiverse 2, where the Green Lanterns of Kyle Rayner and Joe Molina accompany Hal to confront Pariah, they are barely holding on in an endless fight against the hordes of the Shadow Demons, as Pariah watches on the battle at Earth Zero, proclaiming that this is only a matter of time before he'll recreate what he destroyed. But Kyle lets him know that Hal is going to kick his ass. But Pariah remarks that Hal Jordan's invasion, coupled with Barry Allen crossing from world to world, has actually unexpectedly helped his mission by speeding up the process of his machines, making it clear that although the heroes might find the Justice League, they are already out of time. Meanwhile, Barry and Hal invade Batman's Paradise world, finding themselves in a clock-punk Gotham City, where they are ambushed by its Cape Crusader, who throws a gear at their feet instead of a batarang, warning the heroes that they have interfered with his investigation, and with that, a fight breaks out between the fastest man alive and the Dark Knight. Back on Earth Zero, Alan Scott takes Nightwing, Jonathan Kent, and Yara Flor to the Tower of Fate, as he lets them know that since the start of the Justice Society of America, they've had strong connections to the spiritual and even the green flame that powers his ring, but ever since he came back from Earth Omega, he has sensed something wrong, and not only just, with the green flame, but even with magic as a whole. In the Great Hall of the Justice League of Dark, the heroes come across a tribute to Zatanna in the form of a portrait rather than a statue like the rest of the fallen Justice League. Because as Alan explains, building a statue of a magic user, especially one as powerful as Z, is considered dangerous and, it's bad mojo. Now, while the youngsters are creeped out a bit by the fact the portrait is actually moving, that's where they encounter a heavily drunken detective chimp who hasn't taken Z's death lightly and asks if Dick is here to recruit any more of his friends to die, remarking that Z deserved better. But, as Nightwing tries to console Bobo, Detective Chimp walks off, letting Dick know that after everything they've been through together, he thought that they'd be done with tragedy and that he wouldn't have to mourn any more of his friends. But that's when John Constantine tells him to not mind the drunken monkey as he takes them to the green, explaining that before Deathstroke's attack, everyone who had ties to magic was getting a vibe that the darkness was involved with the death of the Justice League. And as Nightwing recalls, Black Adam said that the Great Darkness was controlling Pariah and the Dark Army. And so the group wonders if Deathstroke could also be possessed by the darkness. And that's exactly what both the Swamp Things deem to be the mystery at hand. But Alec Holland lets them know that the Great Darkness has no desire to control anyone because it's not good or evil. It's just something that exists. And as Levi Kemi, the new Swamp Thing, mentions, although he has been an Avatar to Green for only a brief time, even to him it seems very unlikely that such a force of cosmic magnitude would concern itself with controlling petty supervillains. Alec then mentions that during the first crisis with the Anti-Monitor, he faced the Great Darkness after he met Alexander Luthor Jr., a baby that grew into an adult in mere days, and who told him that the crisis would impact even the spiritual dimension and that Swamp Thing needed to stop the Great Darkness, but instead, Alec managed to convince it to rest. As Levi states that this is exactly why the actions of this darkness are so weird, and against everything they know, it leads him to be unsure on whether or not they're actually facing the Great Darkness or something that has corrupted it. Meanwhile, during the all-out battle between the Legion of Doom and King Deathstroke's army, Black Adam lets Luthor know that Slade and his forces are being possessed by the Pariah's Dark Army. However, Lex recalls Adam mentioning that the Dark Army was just mindless drones, but that doesn't seem to be the case with Deathstroke because his forces are not normally this strong, and it's clear that they are pulling their power from an outside source. And so that's when Lex realizes that he was right, and that the darkness is at the edge of the multiverse, and it's indeed being connected to Deathstroke. And despite Black Adam trying to stop him, Luthor goes after Slade himself because if Deathstroke is the head of the beast, Luthor will chop its fucking head off. In that moment, however, at the Hall of Justice, Mr. Terrific records a sudden surge of energy within the dark anomaly at the edge of the multiverse. While at Batman's Paradise World, amid the battle between the Flash and Batman, Hal Jordan notices that the sky turning red and clouds of dark lightning are taking over. Now, with Lex attacking Deathstroke, Slade makes the comment that he thought Luthor was smart. And he asks about, why can't you see that you're on the wrong side? But that's when Lex mocks Slade for the lacking of true vision. And he hits Deathstroke with a devastating blow to the face, taking him down. And with Lex telling Deathstroke that he's aware of what has happened with the Lazarus Pit and Slade's children during the events of Shadow War, he lets him know that he's been through something like this and he knows what it feels like to have your humanity stripped by a greater power, but makes it clear to Slade that no matter what, he will not get what he wants, as Lex puts his repulsor on Slade's head, ready to blow off his head. But that's when Prometheus infects Lex Luthor with the darkness, and it spreads throughout the entire Legion of Doom, right before Black Adam's eyes, wearing the same chains as the Dark Army, and with that they swarm Black Adam. Now at that moment, Mr. Terrific realizes that the dark energy is way too unstable, and their multiverse can't hold it, while on Multiverse 2, the darkness oozes out of Pariah's eyes. Gross. As he sees the worlds that he created with the Justice League of Earth-Zero, starting a chain reaction and proclaims that in the beginning that there was only dark. And this is the moment when Pariah's plan reaches its endgame, for in the palm of his hand, Pariah holds a new infinite multiverse. And that, folks, was the end of Dark Crisis on Infinite Worlds, issue number 4. And thank you guys for checking out my video, as it truly, truly means the world to me. So yeah, this issue was bonkers. Definitely enjoyed it. The situation, the chess pieces are now in place. We actually have some crisis level stuff happening. It's fun stuff, but I want to get one little tangent off my chest for a minute. So yeah, just bear with me. I understand that perhaps the first 3 issues of Dark Crisis weren't technically crisis level threats. I get it. Obviously, a crisis for DC is used in order to reshape the DC universe. And I understand that, the comic book folk are very accustomed to this. But I guess the thing that I'm trying to say is this. Why does it matter if crisis stuff like Infinite Worlds wasn't happening in the beginning? A story is a story. And sometimes I think that we as fans just gotta let things play out in order to get to the point of that said story. I think patience is key. And as we can see here, things are happening. Black Adam done goof. Deathstroke is a literal walking plague. The Justice Society are back in action. And, going back on Black Adam, the changer of the DC hierarchy, the darkness doesn't seem to affect him. Is it because of his magic, or is the darkness using Adam's free will to react the way that he's reacting? But yeah, I just think that seeing the discourse that's surrounding the series, I get that people want things to happen like now, but that's not how stories work. I think we just need time. And this Dark Crisis event, I believe, is the perfect example of, hey, don't worry, just hang on till things start to pop. And boom, things are popping. So yeah, overall great stuff. Williamson again is a dope writer. He knows these characters, and honestly, I am loving the character interaction more so than the actual Crisis shit itself. Maybe because death metal was just so recent and so unnecessarily big, and maybe I'm just a bit tired of that, but besides that, I'm really liking what's happening. I think unlike death metal, this is definitely much more tangible. But yeah, as always, I'm your majestic sayer of words, SuperCliff, and if you guys are new to the channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button, and also the notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload, and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for issue number 5? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace. Giggity goo.